No one knows how serious the porn industry really got. When they voted in gambling, they did say that they would probably most likely bring on a bunch of stuff, but no one knew how serious this is. When they voted in all this corruption, one of the things I think what we are learning, and we learned the hard way, we were actually sexually assaulted this way. That's serious. These assaults are that serious. They make big money on these contracts, by the way. And I guess as time goes on, we'll find out more. Because yeah, uh, the snuff industry and the porn. This is why most of us who I think innocent kids go in there and they think, okay, because I was 27. Okay, we hung out with friends. We would go out, right? No one says yes to porn unless somebody talks to somebody. And let me say something else. If they're doing porn, I don't want it in my house. That was one of the rules in my house to begin with. And the reason why is because the girls and some of our family members have been sexually abused. And because of that reason, there is an anti porn campaign. I know that there are a lot of people who think that it's our fault or something happened. There was porn in our house when we were kids. So I know how serious porn is. I know how the serious impact the porn has on a family. We're not talking about just liking something. We're talking about extremes, okay? We're talking about serious crimes, sex, rape, S&M, bondage, blindfolding people, kidnapping. There's a whole slew of things going on when we think about porn. When it's introduced to kids, that's a concern I have, and it's introduced to anyone. I talked to a police officer up in Rochester, and it's every day. Bus stops, somebody asking for sex favors. It's all part of, including sex paraphernalia. Okay, when somebody's dating somebody, to me, I think there's some things that need to be discussed right off the bat. Most people don't go into it thinking they're going to be in a pornographic relationship. Most people don't look at it that way. I look at it this way. It's progressively gotten worse. Okay, so when it says to clean up your act, clean up your act. What the porn peddlers do in this region is they put girls in this situation where they can't get a job, and then they end up hustling these girls on the street. And that's really the issue with girls, okay? Most of those girls that go out to dinner, go out to work, they're not looking to pick up or hook up. Most girls get caught up in something. And that's initially what happened in McKees Rocks. Because we lived down in McKees Rocks. And believe me, if girls are drunk and doing something they're not supposed to be doing, or partying with the wrong crowd and leaving a girl on the street or things like that, this happened down at Silky's, down in McKees Rocks. This happened down at several clubs. Now you have clubs like Blush. And I think, in truth, most girls, if they talk about going to the porn, places or hanging out and talking about something as important as, like a relationship to me, when you're dating somebody, you have to date somebody you care about. You have to date, and there are a slew of things going on at home. When it comes to porn, though, this is a real big one. Because there are men and women that are dealing with porn addiction. There are men and women that go through a lot, especially if they've been approached the wrong way. Good touch, built bad touch. I mean, believe me, because there was porn in our house when we were little kids, I believe it probably introduced us to things that we weren't prepared for. And this is why parents need to sit down and talk to their kids. They got to sit down and explain things. They say, hey, if there's porn in the house, make sure it's not around. Make sure there are kids to talk about it. Make sure that you get what's going on. I will tell you personally that TV was shut off. The computers were shut off. We don't entertain a lot of it at home. In fact, I don't remember ever entertaining porn. The only time when somebody's acting out, we need to talk. That's basically what's going on. There are girls and there are people that say things that aren't supposed to say things in secret. And believe me, there's when it says about integrity, integrity is when somebody looks behind your back, you know that somebody's going to do the right thing. Here's the thing with my brothers and my sisters and some kids. If there's, as long as there's porn or something around, say something. If it doesn't feel comfortable, if something feels awkward, talk to somebody. Don't go around and go along with something. If you're not comfortable with something, call home, say something, do something. And there also is wholehearted.org. If you are concerned about these things, please, please, please say something. They voted in gambling. They voted in a bunch of things into the state of Pennsylvania. So it is increasingly gotten worse in this region. There's a lot of porn. There's a lot of things you guys got to talk about. There are things that are going on and have been going on online, whether it's online or not. Any form of electronic harassment, any form of it, say something. I truly believe it's because there are leaders throughout the United States have not discussed something as serious as porn. Because to me, the extreme is snuff industry and this whole thing that's going on with people recruiting children and recruiting families to attack other people, man-made crisis. You could go through a bunch of things, but really it all comes down to really anti-porn. Voting it in and voting in all this gambling and all the stuff that's going on right now. This is really the issue, because when it comes down to it, if these people ever approach somebody, it's everyone's business. Believe me. That's why we're out here blogging about it. It's that serious. Cops actually have to talk to these kids. We need to know with reassurance that if they're going to have any kind of porn down there, or it comes up here, it cannot be in the house. That's all I can tell you. Men and women who do things, that's between somebody else. As long as they're over 18, that's one thing. It cannot be in the house when there's kids around. That's basically what's been going on. And I truly don't want porn in the house at all. I can't stand it. I can't stand the effect it's had. I can't stand what it does to a family. I can't stand how humiliating and embarrassing the comments have been, especially because my ex-husband had a porn addiction, especially because a lot of men and women don't talk about it. The reason we moved out of that area is because of the porn, because of what they were doing down in McKees Rocks. And these kids are not just grabbing at straws. This is a reality. There are people that like tie people up and do all kinds of sick crap. So talk about it. Believe me. You might be helping a friend out. You might be helping neighbors out. You don't know who you might be helping out by speaking out on porn, speaking out on all forms of abuse. I went out and dated. I never had a concern. Unless somebody's sexually abusing somebody, yeah, say something. Don't sit there and pretend like something doesn't happen. There are people that slap and push and shove people around. It is not allowed to happen. They got to sit in time out. Okay? Thank you.